All right. Thanks for the intro, and I hope you still have some energy and interest left for another paper about physical visualizations. And this time it's about memorability aspects. So one good thing is that I can almost skip all the related work part because Yvonne did a really great job there. And motivating my work is also quite easy because we just have to look at her paper, and there on page 8 we find this, the term memorability and a statement that somebody should look into that. So that's what we did. That actually isn't such a bad idea. Shows some work in the area of psychology where they looked at memorability and physical objects. And they found indications that the visual and haptic perception are processed dependently, that they share a common reference frame, which means that haptic experiences were able to influence memories that were acquired visually. And there are studies that showed that physical objects were recalled more frequently than pictures, and pictures more often than words. So all of this suggests that a physical visualization or a physical bar chart actually can influence the memorability of information. So let's see how we try to evaluate if this really is the case. So first of all, we needed a data set, of course. We chose a country indicator data set from the Human Development Reports on topics of social integration and population trends. We expected these topics to be interesting to a wider audience, but at the same time not too well known, so that participants actually had to remember new information. Then we had to choose a visualization type. At the end, we just used a vertic 2D bar chart, which is also well known, so everybody knows how to read a bar chart. We don't have any difficulty because of reading difficulties or something like that, and we don't have such a novelty effect. And also we choose a static visualization because we wanted to focus on the modality of the visualization and not on some specific interactions with it. Let's have a look at two final visualizations we compared. So on the left side you see the digital visualization, which was shown on an Apple iPad in full screen display. We choose a tablet instead of a classic desktop setting in order to create conditions similar to the physical visualization. So as you can see on the slide, both visualizations had the same size, and both visualizations could be held conveniently in one or two hands. The physical visualization was built from acrylic glass using a laser cutter. We colored it with acrylic paint, tried to match the design of the digital visualization. And we used self-adhesive foil to attach numeric values and labels, for example. We did a couple of pre-studies. You can find more details about that in the paper. I just want to focus on the main study here. So we had 40 participants, and we had a between groups design. So 20 participants only had the physical visualizations, and the other 20 only the digital one. We started with a reading phase where we handed out the visualizations to the participants and encouraged them to read the visualization and to verbalize all their thoughts and all the information they can read out of it. We had a checklist where we marked all the information the participants verbalized, and we had some predefined questions in order to make sure that every participant more or less had the same knowledge after the reading phase, or at least spoke out the same information. And at the end we just had an immediate recall phase, which was just an online multiple choice test. And then we had a break of 2 weeks, and after that a delayed recall phase with the same quiz again. The quiz was consisted of 3 question categories: questions about maximum and minimum values, and the answers were chosen from a drop-down list which included, for example, all used countries. Then we had questions about specific numeric values, and answers were chosen again from a drop-down list, but this time also only true or false. And the last category are general facts, and the answers again were true or false. So let's have a look at the results. So in total, we didn't find any significant differences. People forgot a few informations after 2 weeks, but that's not that surprising. But it's getting interesting when we look at the categories. and especially when we look at the extreme values, because there we found a statistically significant difference in the delayed recall, where the physical visualization performed better than the digital one. We also looked at the memorability score that we defined as the ratio between the scores of the delayed and the immediate recall. And again, we found a statistically significant difference for the question category of extreme values between physical and digital. So we found that participants who used the physical visualization forgot significantly less information within 2 weeks for a particular kind of information. Participants spent actually slightly more time in the reading phase with the physical visualization, but we suspect it unlikely to have such large effect on the memorability, and only on the delayed memorability and only on the question category of extreme values. There was surprisingly no active haptic exploration of the physical visualization, so participants didn't mark the bars or something like that. So giving these 2 points, what causes the observed memorability effect? One explanation could be that the distinctiveness and the vivid physicality really strengthens the memorability, because the very high and the very low bars in the physical visualizations just stand out more compared to the 2D flat visualization. But of course, there's clearly a need for more research in this area. So although there are many criteria other than memorability, of course, according to which the value of physical visualizations need to be judged, for example, fabrication costs or fabrication time, materials, we believe this is a really promising preliminary result, and especially in areas where you want to present memorable information, for example, education or museums, physical visualizations can be a very useful complement to traditional visualizations. Thank you very much.
Tim Dwyer, Monash University. So you attribute the memorability, the significant difference for memorability of these physical objects to the physicality or the distinctiveness. I wonder, though, about the effect of novelty, the fact that people are seeing a physicalization of data for the first time.
Yeah, I can't rule out the novelty effect, of course. I believe a physical bar chart is not that novel, to be honest. You see a lot of physical visualizations like that in a museum, perhaps. But of course, I can't rule it out. That is also a possibility, of course.
I have 2 clarification questions. So in the study, did you ask people to try their best to memorize the visualization?
No, the participants did not know that they had to memorize the information.
What was the actual test or request you did?
We just gave them the visualization and asked them to read the visualization and just to analyze, explore the visualization. Yeah.
The second clarification. Sorry. So the second clarification question is, you talked about the extreme values have the significant effect. I'm wondering the number of the occurrences that people point out about the maximum versus minimum. Did they talk about minimum values as well, or was it all maximum values?
No, it was maximum and minimum values. A little more maximum values, but it was for both.